What is up guys, Speed here, and today we're going to be talking about Yapzor's Void Spirit. The reason why I wanted to make this video is because he plays it in a very different way. He gets a lot of farm and almost becomes a core, and I want to make sure you guys all know, if you're playing position 4, how you can actually scale, because a lot of position 4 players, they still consider themselves a support, which is okay, but actually, if you talk to a lot of high-tier position 4 players, or you even watch them play, you'll see that they are exceedingly greedy and are always trying to get levels and farm at all costs. And I really want to show you what Yapzor does to maximize this greed throughout his entire game. So if you're excited for this video, or you just like Team Secret in general, please click the like button to help our channel grow. I would appreciate it a ton. And yeah, let's get into it. Also, if you guys are looking to get to the next level and you want more content from your boy Speed, I would appreciate it if you click the link down below, gameleap.com/broken, or whatever it is right now. Nonetheless, you should click it. You're gonna get a discount code, and I really hope you guys go check it out. I'm doing a lot of great coaching sessions over there as of late. I've been posting really high tier stuff where, you know, I just don't talk about a lot of it on YouTube. So if you're interested in that content and that information, I recommend you go check it out. And I'll see you there. Alright, so starting off with it, he has a very weird start. However, this actually will come into play. I do want to talk about why this is important to note. I've seen some examples where people mess this up. But his starting item build is Boots and 3 Tangas, and he goes this every single game, at least that I've watched, of his Void Spirit. And the reason is because he wants to be mobile, he wants to be able to easily contest runes, and he's not really looking to trade, right? His goal in the laning stage is not just to like man up and trade, it's more around to kite around the edges, look for opportunities to go on people, and then as I said earlier, contest runes, contest pulls, right? It's more about finding what is important and finding gaps rather than just brute forcing your way through the lane. That's how Yapzor plays, and that's how a lot of high tier players play in general. It's more about gaps, not brute force. So getting into the laning stage, you're going to notice that he's completely alone. Now, why am I showing you this? Because a lot of you are going to say, Speed, this would never happen in my games. And I would agree, it would happen in maybe 1% of your games. However, the 1% of your games that I have watched where this does happen in 3 to 4K matches, the position 4 will actually not farm. They don't farm. I don't know why, but I think people really do consider and take too literally this idea of being a support. Get the farm. Literally just take the farm. You have to. If you're trying to scale and win the game, you need to play greedy even as a 4. The next thing I'd like to note is what item he buys next, which is Tranquil Boots. Now, why are Tranquil Boots important? He also buys a Clarity and a Stick, which is pretty standard. If you ever rush Tranquil Boots on any hero, you should always follow it up with the Stick and Clarities to guarantee that you can sustain your mana through the entirety of the match. But nonetheless, why is this item build just so important? What does it let you do? Well, as you'll see here, when he's working with the Zai Batrider, he's really just looking to kite around the edges. In fact, when Zai is going in, he doesn't even really follow up the kill. What he does instead is snipe couriers, and having this early boost at, well, minute 0, and now even more movement speed at minute 430 with Tranquil Boots, he's able to snipe every single courier possible, which is exactly what happens here. And keep that in mind, guys, if you watch Secret gameplay, it's really hilarious how much Yapzor and Puppy snipe couriers, and this game, they have 2 of the best courier snipers, I would argue maybe the best 2 courier snipers in the entire game. Weaver and Void Spirit are incredible. Why? Because Weaver's Geminate attack allows him to one-shot couriers, and Void Spirit's ultimate, for some reason, works on couriers. I don't know why, but it's like Quap ulti. It just does. So you can kill them and get a lot of gold. And finally, before we move on from the laning stage, I want to give one more example of him actually taking farm, so you guys understand how important it is to be greedy whenever your offlaner dies or is doing something weird. So, Batrider dies, what does Yapzor do? He pulls aggro and is going to use spells to secure creeps whenever necessary, and really that's all he's trying to do here. Moving on to the 6-minute mark here, you're going to notice that he takes mid lane, and he takes it about for the next 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And the reason why I want to point this out to everyone is only because this is something that you can do in your pubs if you are good at communicating, right? So they have a Lycan mid who can rotate, right? This could apply to a Visage, a Prophet, it doesn't really matter. Any hero that can either full-time jungle or just rotate to a side lane. What you can do is simply let them do that, right? So you send the Lycan bottom, which is what he does here, and he's going to run over No Tail and Sumail's Monkey King. Like, think about it. What can No Tail and Sumail do to actually contest Matama Man here? The answer's nothing. There's literally nothing they can do. There's no way they cast their spells, there's no positioning. Even if someone rotates in, like let's say Saksa on the Shaman rotates in bottom here, or mid one TP's in, what changes? Nothing changes. They still die. And this is why this is such a top tier play, right? Matama Man goes bottom with his Lycan to ruin the bottom lane and take the tower. Zai becomes more a support, I know this is where it becomes complicated, but the offlaner has to be a little bit willing to sacrifice some of his game. And then, instead of Yapzor being like, oh, I need to help my Lycan get kills, when the Lycan doesn't need help at all. I mean, the guy's level 7 on one of the best early game heroes in Dota, right? He doesn't help him, he just goes mid and gets farmed. Now, the Lycan will take over the early game, which is Lycan's timing, early to mid game, and then Yapzor will take over the mid game, which is more so his timing. Not that he's not useful now, but obviously a Void Spirit that's level 6 is 2 times as powerful as he is when he's level 4, which matters a lot. Usually you would think, oh, level 6 is 2 times as powerful as level 3, but I would even argue you're 2 times as powerful from 5 to 6. It really is that drastic, so be greedy. Like, if your mid laner is gonna gank, or they can jungle, let's say they're playing Dusa, or, I don't know, Naga, just tell them to leave and take mid. It doesn't have to be out of, you don't hate them, right? You're just trying to split up the farm, and it's actually a very legit strategy that pros use all the time. And now upcoming here, you're gonna see these levels come into play. I mean, how often are supports actually level 6, let alone level 6.5 at minute 9? It basically never happens. But, in this case, because Yapzor was sapping mid the entire game, he is level 6, and because he's level 6, he can kill mid. While most heroes couldn't, he's able to slow up Topson with his ultimate, which is generally what you do. He follows up the slow from the ultimate with an astral step. Do note that when he's casting it, he casts it on top of himself. You don't want to send it out. I see a lot of players, they'll click the astral step like here, in this direction. The best way to use it, especially if you can close the gap with astral step and slow him first, is just to put down the Aether Remnant on top of yourself. Use it in minimum distance, literally just on top of yourself. That's how it should go. And yeah, as you can see, in combination with the help of Zai, they're able to secure a kill. And really, that's the cool part about Dota. Even though Zai isn't having that great of a game, because he's an offlaner and he's taking farm, he's level 6, and because Yapzor is playing greedy, he's level 6, and all of a sudden, this Tiny, who usually would never die, he's level 9.5, he would never die, dies. And it's only because of that, which is really, honestly, in my opinion, fascinating that the game can get that deep. The next fight I want to talk about is one that gives a really good example of how not to overcommit with your astral steps. A lot of people, when they're using this spell, they kind of just use it willy-nilly, and it's going to get you killed, as well as prevent you from doing a lot of damage. So, as we'll see, the fight start out here, Nisha rolls in, Yapzor is going to follow it up with a good Aether Remnant, and you're going to notice he's not going to instantly astral step across, which most players would do. They just like astral step. Just 2 in a row, just burn them both. Why is this bad? Well, the purpose of Void Spirit, as a supporter and as a hero in general, is his ability to kite in and out around his low cooldowns, and the spell that lets you kite in and out around your low cooldowns is Astral Step. So if you use it too freely for mobility and a little bit of burst damage, you simply can't cast the rest of your spells effectively. So as you're going to see, he only casts an Astral Step later on, and it's a good one because it lets him disengage, stay in the back, right? You don't want to frontline with Tranquil Boots, Windlace, Magic Stick. It's not what this build does. It just lets you stay in the back, and he's able to secure the kill without wasting too much mana and the cooldowns of his steps. Following that up that gank, I want to talk about a very important movement that I wish more support players would do. So as you can see, they have 2 cores top, and they have 2 heroes mid. And what you're going to notice Yapzor does is he instantly shifts back to mid after that top gank. Now, the reason why this is important is because whenever you're playing Dota, you should try to generally center your hero around mid. Your overall movements should always shift back towards mid, purely for the fact that it allows you to make plays anywhere on the map. If you're top, you only really can play top. Maybe mid, right? Like, maybe mid. Same thing with bottom. If you're bottom, you have to make plays bottom. You can collapse on mid, but even then, it's a bit slow. However, if you're mid, you can run into either one of the jungles, you can contest farm. As you can see, he's sapping XP from Sumail here, kicking Sumail out of the jungle, and it's just really the way you play high tempo in Dota. I've been trying to stress this within a lot of videos that I've made recently, and I hope you guys are starting to pick up on it. The next benefit of Void Spirit is his pure ability to catch people when they're running away. A lot of position 4s don't have this sort of mobility, especially until they have at least their Blink Dagger. But Void Spirit has this right when he hits level 6, and this mid 1 Beastmaster, who might have been able to just roar the Batrider and get away, all of a sudden gets caught purely to the mobility of the Void Spirit. And really, this is a major reason why I think this hero can be extremely legit in the position 4 role, and that's purely because of his ability to just close the gap. It's super hard to run away from Void Spirit. No cores can solo kill him. Well, most cores can't solo kill him. And so yeah, overall, I just love this hero as a 4. Alright, in this next fight, I want to give a lot of information, so really pay attention. Number 1, he has a Yules. He actually got it at 60 minutes, which is ridiculous. I mean, he's 3-0-5 with 45 CS, And that's the next thing I want to say. If you're playing position 4, I'm going to give you a bit of a challenge. I recommend at the 20-minute mark, you have at least 50 CS. Now, I know Yapzor doesn't even have 50 right now, but the point is, in pubs, there's a lot less action, right? Yapzor has been very, very active around the map. Due to his good movement back to mid, he's constantly able to make plays. But the important thing to note is that he still finds farm throughout the game, right? Still has 45 CS. So, in your next pubs, if you're position 4, or you're a greedy position 5, maybe like Wyvern or Enigma, try to go for this mark, 50 by minute 20. And now let's look at this fight. His positioning is really what impresses me here because he's able to bait out a couple spells from the Shaman and really prevent Saksa on the Shaman from doing anything this fight. So he's going to walk in, leads with the Aether Remnant, right? Then goes for a maxed range E, right? This is a really nice E. He's not going too close. He's not astral stepping in, he's not walking up to here to cast it, it's literally max range, which is hard to do in Dota, I understand, but if you can, that's what makes you, I guess, a pro player, right? The ability to stay max range, because what you're going to see from this is he clips the Tiny, doesn't overextend, gets hexed, but because he's not here, there's no follow-up to the hex, right? Even if he gets shackles now, mid one's going to have to shift over, Topson has to waste time, Notel has to waste time. It's not a lot of time, but it's enough to win the team fight, right? He's also adjusting to where OG is going, right? OG is going all forward, he's kiting out. And therefore, if Saksa does decide to go for the shackle, it's a waste. Now, Saksa, being the good player that he is, doesn't commit it. He understands that, hey, there is no follow-up, but he's able to now reset with the W, get out to the outside, and look for another angle. As you can see, he doesn't instantly go in the astral step. He's waiting for his cooldowns, which is what I tried to stress earlier. Do not go in if you don't have your cooldowns. If someone's one shot, okay, yeah, finish him off with an astral step. Other than that, wait on the outside, wait for your Yules to come up, and find separated targets, which is what he does here. He finds Saksa on the Shaman, and because he's so over-leveled due to the fact that he took the Tome and has farmed multiple times this game, he's level 12 to the 8 of the Shaman, has the Yules, and is able to solo kill him to end the fight. And really, that's how you can have impact. You don't always have to do something extreme, but he baited out multiple spells, distracted the Shaman, distracted the Beastmaster, even Notail on the Enigma, and disrupted the Roche overall. And this really was the game-ending fight for OG. The match completely ended here. There's nothing they can do, so let's look at one more fight. Alright, getting into the second to last engagement we'll watch, he's gonna lead in. Now at this point he's very tanky, he has an Axe of Yules, he's just ready to go. He even has a Nether Shawl, so basically he can't die. Like, if he does, OG is gonna have to waste everything on him, and there's no way they win the fight after they cast all their spells on a position 4 Void Spirit. It's just not gonna work. So Yapzor leads in here. He goes for the Yules into Aether Remnant combo. Now, mid one, being a good player, blocks it with his boar. Obviously this is something you'll only see, in my opinion, in very high MMR games. It could happen in other brackets, but generally won't. And then he's going to go for his W. So the W, he uses it here. Very important to note, he W's to here and not here. Why? Because if you go to here, you put yourself in the opportunity to get caught in an easy Monkey King ulti or in a bad position in the black hole. But instead, he goes to the outside, he E's, and you see how he's instantly backing? This is what most players would never do. They would never do this, because usually what they would do is E, they're like, oh, the guy's bugged, he's getting rolled on, he is silenced, there's no way he lives, he's useless, right? But what's the problem about overcommitting onto the first person you see? You die to other AoE spells. He would get tiny comboed, he would get clipped by the Monkey King ulti, stuck in a black hole, whatever it is. So keep that in mind, guys. If you are a support player, or you're not the frontliner, even though he is pretty tanky, he still wants to kite outside. He has an Axe, 2 charges of the Resonant Pulse, 2 charges of Astral Step. He's going to kite to the outside. He does go in a little bit. He's basically contemplating whether or not he wants to commit. But as you can see, he stays on the outside, does get clipped by the black hole, right? But because he's on the outside, you're going to notice that there's no follow-up to this black hole. The Monkey King ulti does come in, but because of his good positioning, he's not stuck in it. I mean, he probably wouldn't be stuck in it either way, because he has Astral Step, but he at least doesn't have to use the Astral Step defensively, and in a game that's more even, this would get you killed, right? The good positioning here would be the determining factor of you living or not. So in this case, it doesn't seem as drastic, but it really, really is, and you should learn from it. And to end off the fight, he's going to go on Notel on the side, finishes him off with an Astral Step and a Resonant Pulse, and at this point, I would argue he's like, not the strongest hero in the game, but my gosh, he is strong. Also, he took some interesting talents. Number 1, he took 2.5 mana regen, which is usually not what the core Void Spirit takes, but it makes sense. You're going Tranquil Boot Stick Clarities, and you cast a lot of spells, so you gotta keep up your mana. And then on top of that, Remnant provides True Sight. What I'm thinking is that this gives Vision of Wards. Don't quote me on this, I'm not certain about it, but I'm pretty sure pretty sure when you cast 8th the Remnant, it gives vision awards, because as you can see, he's just chucking it out here at random locations. This obviously is going to hit no heroes. It's not even going to hit a creep. So yeah, I think he's straight up scouting wards with 8th the Remnant. So you have like a discount Zeus, which is pretty dang good. It's actually pretty legit. And yeah, it's a cool talent. Mana regen and scouting wards with your level 15 True Sight. News just in. It actually does scout wards. My friend looked it up for me, and so you guys can all thank Matt in the comments. I want you all to comment down below. Thank you very much, Big Easy, for all the great information. But now, as you can see, with the Void Spirit on your team, no one can split push, and this is the prowess of this hero. When you have the Ags and the Astral Step, especially when you hit level 20 and you have the Astral Step cooldown, no one can split push. You cut all the waves, you catch anyone who tries, and I really do think that's why Secret really prioritizes this hero. It's a good laner, it's really good in the mid game, it does insane damage. Apparently now it scouts wards, which I had no idea of even when making this video, and it just shoves the lanes. On top of that, if you guys are playing pubs, and you're like, oh, my team and my cores never carry me, this is the best hero, because you farm so fast, right? When you hit this Axe timing, you one-shot waves. I mean, look at this. It's ridiculous. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you take into consideration playing Void Spirit position 4. I think Yapzor just makes this hero look so good, but if you copy everything he does, I think you'll have success as well. So thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and peace. Before you leave, just want to say a quick message. If you're trying to get better at Dota, or you just enjoyed that video, I know this is pretty general, and you're going to hear this quite a bit from me, but I recommend you sign up to gameleap.com. Why? Because I put a lot of effort into the content over there, and generally the effort I do there is different from the content you're going to see here on YouTube. It's different. In fact, I usually go a lot more in depth on topics or into niche topics that help you get to the next level even faster, because on YouTube, I often have to keep it more mainstream. That's even why I'm putting it at the end of this YouTube video. That's why this is at the end, because a lot of people just watch 5 minutes, they skip through just for like the dopamine spike. But if you are interested in actually getting better at Dota, I recommend you go to the description down below, get your discount right now by clicking the link, sign up, use the discount code that you're going to see there, and I hope to see you there right now. So click it, and yeah, thanks for watching.